Thank you very much, and then we're about to start the opening panel, and I think that this is quite an innovation of the Czech presidency that we have the opening panel as such, as a format of discussion. And I would like to congratulate Czech presidency for the achievements, and also congratulate Macedonian presidency for the challenge taken on board. We're going to have the opening panel from 9:15 to 10:40. We have distinguished speakers here, and we will have questions and answers session at about 10:40. So we will start with Mr. George Soros, who I suppose does not need any special introduction. And besides his other accomplishments, Mr. Soros has been the biggest supporter of us, the Roma, across the globe, and has been the top advocate on Roma behalf. So I would start with Mr. George Soros addressing the International Steering Committee meeting.
Shall I do it
No,
here, or?
you can do it from there.
So I'm very happy to be here at the International Steering Committee of the Decade of Roma Inclusion. I was present at the inaugural meeting of the decade in 2005, when 9 states made an unprecedented commitment to overcome the exclusion of Europe's most alienated people, the Roma. At that time, the decade member states pledged to develop concrete action plans to ensure progress in the areas of education, employment, health, and housing. The decade has made considerable progress. It has elevated the importance of tackling the interrelated problems of poverty and discrimination. The decade has involved the Roma communities and provided a forum to discuss what works and what doesn't. It has encouraged civil society to provide independent evaluation of the progress made in individual member states. And it has attracted other states and international organizations to join. In the last year, the European Union has devoted increased attention to the problems connected with Roma exclusion. It is calling on member states to prepare a national integration strategies, set clear targets, and devote adequate resources towards achieving these goals. It has resolved to bolster the European Roma platform, to coordinate activities of EU member states, and to make a difference by 2020. In its latest communication, the European Union is calling on decade countries to draw on the experience of the decade and improve their existing action plans. This offers the decade a unique opportunity to make a constructive contribution to the Roma framework of the European Union. It can put its accumulated experience at the disposal of the European Union, and in addition, it can bring the Roma communities, the NGOs engaged with the Roma, and the Western Balkan states with large Roma populations into the process. With the decade now past its halfway mark, its role is more important than ever. I spoke with Commissioner Reding about the benefits of integrating the work of the decade into the EU framework. She agreed that there are many synergies to explore and lessons to learn from the decade's experience. So now is the time to work to achieving this integration for mutual benefit. We should use this meeting to begin developing a partnership between the EU and the decade. As a first step, I propose that the next plenary meeting of the decade should take place in Brussels, and it should be used to show how the problem of Roma exclusion could be solved. Because we know what needs to be done, and we have demonstrated it on a small scale. For example, in education, it involves providing special assistance to enable Roma children who have been disadvantaged from birth to get the same level of education as other children. By special assistance, I mean mentoring and tutoring and having teachers who know how to help disadvantaged children. Working along these lines for more than 20 years, my foundations have succeeded in educating a new Roma elite who have retained their Roma identity. As things stand now, Roma who succeed in getting educated tend to deny their Roma ancestry and become assimilated. Since they don't fit the stereotype, they can do so, but the stereotype remains. Enlarging the new Roma elite would help to break the stereotype. Unless this affirmative action in education is scaled up, the total Roma population will continue to grow faster than the new Roma elite, and the stereotype will remain. The proposed Brussels meeting should serve as a showcase for the positive achievements of the decade without minimizing the magnitude of the task ahead. The prevailing opinion today is that the Roma present an insoluble problem, and this feeds into the hostile stereotype. Once you meet the new Roma elite, you get a glimpse of what the future can hold. Instead of despairing, you realize that affirmative educational approach needs to be scaled up. Using Hungary as an example, by 2015, some 25% of new entrants into the workforce will be of Roma origin. Without properly integrating the Roma population, Hungary would face a grim economic future. The same applies to several other countries of the decade. Yet, the adverse attitude of the majority population is the worst in those countries where the Roma population is the largest. So there is no alternative to taking on this challenge. The challenge is particularly acute for the decade. Either it develops a full partnership with the European framework, or it risks duplicating the efforts of the Roma platform. But to abandon the decade would mean losing the participation of the Western Balkan states with large Roma populations, and that would be an irreparable loss. So there is no real choice but to develop a full partnership. Thank you.